You ever realize your whole life can blow up over a $2 piece of plastic and a splash of chlorine? Yeah, that happened to me, and let me tell you, I never thought I'd see the day when a pool key fob would set off a federal investigation. But here we are. If you can't stand Karens, you're going to want to stick around for this one. And before I get started, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me what city or country you're watching from. I want to know where all the Karen haters are at for real. See, in Azure Springs Estates, your pool privileges are about as sacred as the HOA president's favorite shade of beige. And Kelly Coington, that president, wasn't just gunning to kick me out of the pool. She wanted to wipe me right off the map, like my existence was some kind of stain on her perfectly manicured world. She sent her husband, Detective Rick Coington, parading around in his police uniform, like it was a king's robe, just to confiscate my key fob and put me in my place. Remind me, that no matter how nice your house is, some folks will always see you as the outsider in their little slice of paradise. But what Kelly didn't know was this: I wasn't just another new neighbor who played music a little too loud on Saturdays. I was Marcus Thorne, FBI. And I'd come to Azure Springs for Operation Gilded Cage, a job to crack open a nest of white-collar fraud money laundering, all that clean-looking crime that never touches back alleys but sure does thrive on golf courses and brunch tables. My cover tech millionaire who'd sold his app for more money than sense, living in a house with more garage space than friends, and trying my best to blend in with folks who cared more about fertilizer brands than world news. For 3 months, I did the neighborly dance, waved at everyone, kept my trash cans in line, talked investments at those awkward mixers. On the outside, I was a ghost. Inside, I was carrying a pressure cooker of nerves. Now, here's the thing: when you're undercover, you need something to keep you sane. For me, it's swimming. Always has been. So on this scorcher of a Tuesday sun blazing, I finally took my towel, sunglasses, and the little blue pool key down to the Azure Springs pool, this pristine turquoise rectangle nobody ever used more for show than fun. Quiet as a church, except for the hum of AC units. I slipped in, felt the shock of cool water cut right through weeks of stress, and for a minute just floated there looking up at a blank sky. I wasn't an agent, wasn't a fake millionaire, just a guy in a pool on a hot day. That's when she appeared. Kelly Coington, materializing at the pool's edge like a storm cloud in a pantsuit. Late 50s blonde helmet hair, eyes cold as a foreclosure notice. No welcome basket, just a clipboard clutched like a weapon. "Excuse me," she snapped. Not a question, a command. Sun behind her looked like an avenging angel of pool rules. My heart kicked up. I'd read her emails, seen her warning about lawns and cars and all those veiled threats, but now here she was standing over me like she owned the oxygen. She introduced herself like royalty: Kelly Coington, president of the Homeowners Association. And the way she said president sounded like she wanted a crown and scepter. I kept it light, told her I was Marcus Thorne, just moved into the gray house on Willow Creek. She already knew, obviously, probably had a file on me with tabs and color codes. She hit me with, "I'm sure you received the community guidelines and bylaws in your welcome packet, Mr. Thorne." I lied and said I'd read them. What I'd really done was skim enough to know, don't offend the beige committee. But then she got specific. Rule 17B regarding pool attire, she said, tapping that clipboard. I looked down at my plain black trunks, thinking, really, your shorts appear to be made of a material not explicitly approved on the sub-list of acceptable fabric, she said. That was a real line. There was a sub-list, apparently, and I was already in violation. Not because of fabric, but because I was the wrong kind of neighbor. I played it dumb, tried to stay off her radar. "Oh, my bad, Kelly. I'll get some HOA-approved trunks next time," I said, all sheepish. But that wasn't enough. Compliance made her bolder. She shifted gears. "I was just reviewing the resident registry and noticed a discrepancy with your file." She'd caught the bureau paying my amenity key deposit through a corporate card meant to keep the trail clean. Now I'm sweating, not because of the sun. She was digging. Why? Was I just a random audit, or did I have a target on my back? I gave her a smooth excuse about company relocation expenses, promised to send a personal check. Inside, I was rattled. She pressed harder, reminding me this community doesn't cater to temporary visitors or corporate rentals. Translation: I was an outsider no matter how much I smiled or trimmed my hedges. I had to swallow the anger, keep being the easygoing tech bro, because if I cracked, the whole case was blown. After she finally click-clacked away, clipboard in hand, I let out a long breath. That woman wasn't just a power-hungry Karen. She was looking for trouble, and if I didn't play it perfect, she'd find mine. Back at my house, I made the call to my handler, Agent Fitzpatrick. He listened as I recounted the run-in. Coington. That name is familiar, he said, voice suddenly tight. Turns out Kelly was married to Detective Rick Coington, local PD homicide. Suddenly her power made sense. She wasn't just a nosy neighbor, she was plugged in, and not just socially. And get this, Rick was lead on a case about a contractor, Frank Gregg, who did a lot of HOA work until he disappeared. Declared dead case closed, rumors flying that he was about to expose shady dealings before he vanished. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just about swim trunks or casual racism. This was about covering up real crimes, and I'd landed right in the bullseye. Fitzpatrick told me to lay low. Be the most boring, compliant neighbor in the whole damn development. So I did. I ordered the ugliest, most regulation khaki swim trunks you've ever seen. Paid the amenity fee by personal check, kept my Saturday jazz quieter than a library, made my lawn look like a putting green, and moved my trash cans like a ninja. Every so often, I'd catch Kelly giving me a little nod as she drove by, like I was finally just another piece of the scenery. But at night, I was digging. With access to the HOA's digital portal, I started tracing vendor payments, cross-referencing contracts, and found something. Every big project went to Pristine Property Solutions, LLC, a shell company registered to a P.O. box. The registered agent, Pamela Granger Kelly's maiden name. She was funneling money through her own fake company, taking a fat cut betting nobody would notice. I had the mechanism, but I needed the proof. The twist came at the next HOA meeting. Kelly ran those things like a dictator. Her two loyal board members, Gary and Brenda, never disagreed. But the real action was after the public left closed session for budget review. I needed in. So when they asked for a volunteer to manage the community website, I raised my hand. Suddenly, I had a key to the clubhouse, an excuse to be there after hours. Late one night, I slipped in and hid button-sized cameras and mics in the conference room. I just had to wait for the next board meeting, and when it happened, man, it was something out of a movie. The board discussed kickbacks, openly 30% off the top, split 3 ways. Then suddenly Rick walked in. "I think our new neighbor is a cop," he said. My heart nearly stopped. They were on to me not for my mistakes, but because Rick was a pro at spotting ghosts. Things turned dark. Talk about dealing with me just like Frank Gregg. I called Fitzpatrick, told him my cover was blown. Stay put, tactical teams on the way. But I knew I couldn't wait. I'd end up like Frank. So I did the crazy thing. I went back to the pool, ready to face them in public. There, under the pool lights, Rick and Kelly confronted me. The tension was so thick you could taste it. They accused me of spying, lying, being a snake in their garden. Rick's hand drifted to his waistband. I knew he was armed, and I was seconds from being just another HOA statistic. That's when the twist hit Mrs. Gable. This sweet, frail old lady from 2 doors down walked up in her housecoat, clutching her tiny white dog. "Oh dear, hope I'm not interrupting anything," she said, totally derailing a murder in progress. The absurdity of it broke the tension, and Rick had to back off. He couldn't shoot me in front of a witness. Just then I heard the quiet arrival of Fitzpatrick's team. They came in fast plainclothes, but unmistakable, and arrested Rick and Kelly right there by the pool. Kelly still screamed about being president, about private property, but it was over. Their bored cronies, Gary and Brenda, rolled on them fast when they saw the evidence. And Mrs. Gable, she handed me a thumb drive, Frank Gregg's files. Turns out she'd been waiting for someone to trust with the truth. Frank's body was found under the new clubhouse gazebo. Thanks to her records, she got justice and the truth finally came out. Before I left, she smiled at me and said, "If you ever come back, wear whatever swim trunks you want." That one got me. Sometimes the heroes are little old ladies with fluffy dogs. Driving out of Azure Springs at dawn, I looked in the rear view at those perfect beige houses and thought, this place will never be the same. The gilded cage was broken all because one woman's petty power trip made her pick the wrong target. Kelly wanted to keep her world pure, but her own bigotry was what brought the whole house down. That's poetic justice if I've ever seen it. And you know what? Evil doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it's right out there on a perfect lawn wrapped in bylaws and fake smiles. They use rules to keep you out. But a little courage and the right kind of witness can bring the whole thing crashing down. Don't ever let anyone make you feel like you don't belong where you've got every right to be. Sometimes just taking a swim is the biggest rebellion of all. So if stories like this light a fire and you stick around, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. And remember, sometimes it takes just one person to break the spell. Why do you think people like Kelly Coington get away with it so long? Is it power fear or just that nobody stands up? Let me know below.